everybody. Welcome back to our energy report. My name is Jona Bryndis. For 8th till 13th of July, I'm on the road, as you can see. And this is kind of, I would say, almost characteristic for the times that are ahead of us. They're moving very, very fast. So let's have a look at what these energies are going to bring us next week. As always, I would like to have a quick review here of this last week. Many of you found yourselves in somewhat of an inert or almost like slump, being like really kind of low in energy and just wanting to crawl up, or just sort of hanging out at home and enjoying summer, at least here in the northern hemisphere. All understandable, but take it from me, it's time to get up. All right, so what we're looking at now is a time of old systems leaving, new systems arising, like a rebirth or resurrection almost. But this can only happen if we are willing to let go of the past. So I wrote a lot about this last week, and there's a reason for this, all right? Like as a good friend of mine always says, in order for a new train to arrive, you're going to have to let the old train leave. And so this is kind of like where we're at right now. And this sort of slightly confused feeling of not really knowing what to do, and I'll also comment on the fears that are around this uncertainty right now. This is normal, guys, so don't get like confused or get stressed out by this. All right, you feel agitated, you'll feel irritated. I talked a lot about this. This has to do with those increasing energies hitting our planet, you know, hitting our awareness, hitting our bodies, all right? And so this is why I've been talking about physical integration since the beginning of the year. This entire year is about integrating those higher frequencies. But this doesn't only happen on our physical level. This also has to happen on our emotional level and our mental level and also our spiritual level. And those of you who are familiar with energy work, you know, this is my profession, I'm an energy coach, know that there are techniques that you can learn that can help you to integrate energies in a more efficient way. So to a degree, energy coaching is kind of like the new enhanced life coaching, if you will, because we're not just looking at how can I emotionally or mentally or even physically transcend or adopt to changes. We also bringing in the energetic view, which has to do with the subtle feelings, the subtle energies, and it brings back our intuition. It brings back our subjectivity, all right? It's too hot here. My cell phone failed me. So let's start all over again. You're in a hot pre-phase. You can all feel it. Let's look at last week real quick and try to find out why this has been so exhausting or tiring. All right, so some of the things that we went through, like with family karma and with some of the internal processing last week, made us a little sluggish, made us a little inert. We just wanted to sit on the couch and enjoy life. And there's nothing wrong with this, all right? So this is part of self-love, all right? And when we talked about what do we truly want, what do we truly need, it's part of it. So it's a really good thing you did this, all right? But now it's important that you don't get stuck there, that you don't get stuck on the couch, okay? Because things are heating up. And since the beginning of the year, I have been talking about physical integration. Physical integration of what? Physical integration of energy. And there's many different ways you can call this. You can call this spiritual embodiment. You can call this energy coaching. So I just here in my little pre-video talked about that energy coaching is teaching us how to deal with our subtle energies, how to deal with physical, emotional, mental and spiritual energies. And for those of you who are familiar with energy work, even a step further, how can we discern outer energies? How can we work with this, maybe work this into predictions or things that can help other people? I do want to point out real quick that the time of predictions is over, guys. So even when I say something like a forecast or something like that, what I'm looking at is the energies that are coming across from like hundreds of people, hundreds of visionary and energetically sensitive people. All right, so this is almost like a stock report. It's not after the fact, it's before it happens, but it already materializes in our systems. And especially for those who are visionarily inclined, or who are very energetically sensitive, highly sensitive persons. We know this now is like makes up 15 to 20% of our population now. So these people can pick up on things before they actually happen. And this precognitive skill, as we call it, is not what you think it is. In the old days, there only used to be a few like clairvoyants. They were born with this, they knew they had this, and they were working as such. But nowadays it's different. Nowadays precognition becomes a mainstream skill, and that is because the energies are moving so fast now that predictions are not really possible anymore. So I used to be one of those, you know, who was reading cards for other people, and I stopped doing this in the early 2000s. And with 2012, there really is no point in making a prediction for a person anymore. In fact, 10 years ago, I've changed everything to teaching a person how to do their own predictions, how to tune into their inner guidance system so accurately that they can train their energy system to tell them what is going to happen in the future. And so this leads me to the irritability and the uncertainty and how all this sort of fear of the future, the fear of the unknown, because we can all kind of feel the collapse, how that translates for most people. For 80% of people, it translates into anger, violence, lashing out, depression, and anxiety. 20% of the people, and I'm not saying that there's anything special about this, but those of us who are connected with our energetic sensitivity, we can see that there's more behind this, all right? So we see collapse, yes. We see collapse. Collapse is imminent. But collapse has been going on for years, for decades, okay? So this is not something new. It's not coming with the eclipse. It's been, you know, preparing. It's been collapsing all this time. And so in order to allow new things to really come in, we got to say goodbye to old things. We got to accept, we got to allow, you know, the old train to leave the station so that the new train can come in. And guess what? Those of you listening here to me right now, or in this YouTube video, you guys are a part of this percentile of the population that has that sensitivity to know that there is something really, really cool coming. So what are we looking at when we're looking at forecasts or predictions? We're not looking at apocalyptic doomsday type of stuff. No. So even when I talk about collapse, I'm not talking about the end of the world. I'm talking about the collapse of the old system. And hallelujah, this is what we've all been wanting. All right? So now we got to become part of it. We can't hide under our blankets or hunker down and be afraid of the collapse that we all been feeling for 20, 30 years. To avoid it, because we're afraid of what, our money, our houses, our children. This is the time to stand up, guys. And I'm going to keep this really, really short today, because the energies for this week are all about implementation. They're all about standing up, making a stance for yourself. Yes, there's still residues that we have to deal with. There's shadow stuff and all that, all the stuff that I always talk about. We gotta know our stuff, all right? Because if you don't know your stuff, if you can get distracted by simple things like fear or anger or sexuality or greed, you know, then you're out, Okay, so if you want to be part of this change and to also bring this forward for your children, for our future generations, all right, you got to take part. You can't hunker down. You got to be there. And what does that mean? Yes, there's a question here. It says we are afraid of the light because it destroys the ego. You know, I have to agree with you on that one, even though it kind of sounds a bit black and whitish, but that is the case. So with all this light coming in, or higher energetic frequencies that are hitting our planet, however you want to define this, all right, it's the emergence of our intuition, the emergence of our subjectivity is coming back into our paradigm, into our reality. And in the past I talked about making our physical reality or matching up our physical reality with our energetic reality. And what this really means is that we have to learn to adapt. All right, we have to change our food, we have to change the intake, we have to change our partners, change the geographical location where we live, whatever it takes to be in a better vibratory place to be able to deal with all these changes. All right, so when people talk about these apocalyptic type of things, I wouldn't be worried about this, all right, because there is something that we've been seeing for a long time, a so-called bifurcation. It's where energies kind of split, and when people make a choice, all right, and you can read this in a lot of ancient texts and so forth. It's not something new, but it's something that is happening right now. This is one of the most exciting times to live in. And, you know, if you've up until now really dreaded the fact that you're energetically sensitive, then, you know, try to recontextualize this and say, you know, this is so cool that my soul chose to incarnate into these times. All right, so here we are supporting the whole thing and being part of it at the same time. We are the experiencer and the observer at the same time. We witness change. We witness the collapse of the old. And what does this mean in practical terms? A lot of people may disagree with me, but I think that one of the most important changes that is going to happen, and for me this has been clear as day for like 10 years, but now I actually see it happening, is the sort of the change in our power structures, in our outer power structures. Some of you may know this. I have a history with the computer industry from the very early stages, and I've always had like a really, really good instinct about what's coming next. And first it brought me into the software industry at a very early stage. Then it brought me into nutritional counseling and teaching people how to improve their bodies, how to improve their cognitive and their emotional functions by changing the foods. And now I'm an energy coach for like the last 10 years. So the next thing is how our entire sort of economic and communicational system is changing. And here with me, with my intuition, I feel this open source, this open platform that fascinated me over 30 years ago. I see this materializing now. I see this manifesting, okay? And where do I see this? I see this in all these platforms that are emerging, and cryptocurrencies. And you think this is you know, like a pyramid system or whatever, then ask your children or ask younger people. This is not a hoax, all right? So cryptocurrencies are going to be the carriers for this collapse of the old power structure. And this is the smartest way to be part of this. All right, and on the way, while I was driving here today, I had this like wonderful idea, you know. And if this doesn't mean anything to you right now, then just to shut your ears for a couple of minutes. If all our kids, you know, that have been gaming, you know, day in, day out, you know, with all this like screen time and so forth, that are now sort of starting to get older, that are now starting to go to college or whatever, if they would all use their gaming computers to mine cryptocurrencies, yes, such as Bitcoin, such as Ethereum, and so forth, there is a lot of potential there. And if you don't know yet what to do, I strongly recommend you to go into educating yourselves about how cryptocurrencies function and the spirit behind it. I've said this, I've wrote about this at the beginning of the year in my energy forecast, and then I mentioned this again, like I think 2 months ago. This is the time, guys. Now, if we look a little further here into August is a bit of a scary thought for a lot of people. It's already cooking. We can already feel this, and so a lot of people are a bit afraid of the eclipse, and this is our new, you know, like 2K or 2012, you know. It doesn't really matter. People, this isn't in our nature as humans, you know, to have these like sort of doomsday dates. Don't fall for this, all right? Is there going to be stuff happening? Absolutely, and you can feel it, and it's going to escalate further. So if you don't know where your anger, where your depression, where your anxiety comes from, now is the time to deal with this, all right? This is kind of like getting urgent here, all right? Because by the end of July, we're going to be under the influence of these like really intense fresh energies coming in that are like hodgepodge energies, all right? And so by the end of August, a lot of things are going to collapse. A lot of cool things. This is cool, guys. And I'm not saying this as a rebel. I'm saying this as someone who understands what open source means. It means the power moves back to the people, to the consumers. So if you can understand the spirit behind this and get your children to mine cryptocurrencies to pay back some of the power bill, all right? Make this their allowance, all right? Create a whole new culture. A whole new culture where you stand up for yourself and you say, no, we don't want to be controlled by banks anymore. We don't want to be controlled by corporations. We only support institutions or companies that are based on the idea that it's a win-win-win. It's a win for all. And those ideas are there, guys. And there is new companies coming up like mushrooms right now. So I'll probably do just a sort of a separate recording here on cryptocurrencies. But if you still think that this is all woo-woo and that this is all going to collapse and it's going to get hacked, well, then ask yourself, what do you want to believe in more? You want to believe in the systems that have been lying to us, that have been working on all levels of delusions in the last 60 or even more years? Or do you want to believe in those new startups, in these people that have the genuine resolve to bring the power back to open source? Open source means all of us. All right, so this is my rant of the day here. I can feel these new energies coming in already, and I'm extremely creative right now. I would recommend to all of you to really go into like writing things down, you know, even knitting or baking, it doesn't matter, but give this new energy, give this a channel, because if you don't, you're just going to be sitting there and you're going to be depressed, and you're going to feel like a victim, and your body's going to hurt, and you're not going to be able to be part of this change. All right, one of my biggest recommendations since, I don't know, 30 years, get your food in order. All right, stay away from contaminated food, stay away from EMF pollution. You know, I've been sitting here in my car with my cell phone the last 8 hours, and I can feel it all over my body. Okay, I'm gonna have to go and sit out underneath a tree and ground myself here as soon as I arrive where I'm heading to, just so that I can allow my body to deal with all of that contamination. All right. When I said earlier that you may have to get rid of your relationship partners or whatever, of course I didn't mean it that way, but you have to really look at the choices that you're making in regards to your physical choices, your emotional choices, your mental choices, your spiritual choices as well. There's a lot of woo-woo humbug out there. So anybody who is telling you that they can foresee the future, or that aliens or angels are sending them messages, stay away from them. I'm not saying that they're all bad, but I'm saying that you need to seek those people that are trying to empower you, that are showing you how to read your own energies, how to reclaim your power in all these different areas. And this includes all kinds of healing arts. You're going to see those now booming. All of us here that have been working in the underground are now starting to come forward, and you won't believe it, in a year from now we will have a whole new culture here of alternative healing methods. All right, so believe in this and see this change, this transition as something positive. All right, so this is my tip for, like, say, the second half of the year 2017. But as far as like next week is concerned, really get this in your mind. This is about implementation now. So don't sit around and energize your victimhood. Stand up. Stand up for the things that you want, that you need to feel safe, that you need to feel loved. And when I say that you want, I'm not talking about your third chakra. I'm not talking about your solar plexus, desire, greed, self-gain. I'm talking about the things that you truly want, the things that you want to manifest in your life. And if you're like around the millennial mark here, you know, guys, this is your time. All this gaming, all the stuff that you've been shunned for all these years, okay? Put this knowledge to work now. You guys, without knowing, have learned what decentralized data means. So decentralized data is the key word for the future here. We don't want corporations to own our data. We don't want them to dictate how we are supposed to see things. I'm not even talking about politics. All this will take care of itself. You guys are the generation that has to stand up now. So this is kind of like my wake-up call for the millennials. We need you guys, and you already have the knowledge in you, even if you don't think you do. Take your old gaming computer and turn it on and get started on crypto mining, all right? And on the more spiritual level, there are some very beautiful things coming in now. Again, shadow work will still be a little bit of a theme, and we have to learn how to clear, guys. Energetic clearing is not a woo-woo thing. Seriously, this is something that can be read, learned in all ways. We all have those abilities. So these 15-20% of the total population here that qualify as energetically sensitives or highly sensitive people or empaths, no matter what you want to call them, the more label you give them, the more specialness you give it. So drop that. All right, this is the evolution here of humanity in the making. So those of us who already have that energetic sensitivity, put it to work. Seek an energy coach, seek an energy worker who can help you to contextualize what you're experiencing. And yes, I am making advertisement for transCODES because this is what pays the bills, all right? So this is what we do. We teach people how to reclaim their energy. Come to our public sessions, do private energy coaching sessions, sign up for our 24-step self-healing course where you learn all essentials of energy work, from going through karma work, inner child work, how to connect with your heart, and how to interpret your precognitive perceptions. And this reminds me on a subject that I will not talk about today. I'll talk about this next week. And again, sorry for that. There was a phone call coming in. And next week, 2 p.m., I'm going to be talking about retrocausality, timelines, and past, present, future. I just want to drop this here real quick for you, that it is not as you think. It is not your decisions in the past that drive you forward. It is your future that pulls you into it. So we're being pulled into the future. And those of us who have this energetic sensitivity already know it. All right, so now act on it. Go into conscious manifestation. This entire week of July, we're going to be dealing with, we're going to be doing workshops, sessions, all about conscious manifestation. I'm not talking about The Secret. I'm talking about manifestation based on heart consciousness. All right, so get your emerging heart energy to move. All right, because that's why it's coming forward for you. So you guys have a wonderful weekend. It's going to be a hot weekend energetically. Heed my words. Don't hunker down. Don't get angry. Don't let all this pull you in.